Hello, hello, Kalu Kalay, another day, another morning, or whatever time it is anymore. I don't know anymore. Time is running together. So hello. I'm back. I'm alive. I ate way too much fucking food. Yo, I just finished my first module of cybersecurity training, so going through that and getting the test should help me get a better job. I don't fucking know. Wish me luck. Yes, good job. Good luck. Yeah, cybersecurity training sucks. I ate way too much food today. Yeah, I had dinner. I ate too much. So, my gut's kind of on fire right now, but that's half the fun, right? Oof. But, generally speaking, today we're going to just do stuff. More accurately, we've got the games that technically won. Also, here's the funny script. Don't look at the funny script. Oh, God. Yeah, today I have been working on the Fatal video. Yes, the Fatal video. We are, generally speaking, we are at 17.5 minutes long. Yes, this will be my longest video. My absolute longest video on this godforsaken channel will be a 17.5 minute long video of me talking about Fatal. This is the destiny that I chose. This is the story that I decided to tell. Truly, we live in a society. .tm. Ugh. So, what's the plan for today? Well, we've got a few games that are, let me readjust this real fast. We got a few games that we need to kind of go over more than anything. Kind of debate on, kind of fix, do something with. I don't know. Let me grab my template box here. Control C. Readjust my life as usual. And let's put our first one down. Yes, our first template box. Our first game actually going to be that got approved is a game called Flesh Markets. Now, Flesh Markets is, I'm going to put a big asterisk there. Now, you may be wondering, Notepad, why is the asterisk there? Very simply put, I don't know if that's going to be the final name. Don't quite know what I want to do with this game. Good cabaretting. 17-minute video on Fatal sounds neat. God command, go be fruitful and multiply. Essential review strange fetish games written by questionable people. No com game. This is a game by the patrons. Democracy voted, and they voted for weird shit. I brought it up to democratic principles because I believe in democracy. Democracy is what I truly believe in life. And because I believe in democracy, I've put it up to vote for the patrons to decide on, and currently we are deadlocked. Because I find that obviously funny. Because we can't have nice things. We can only have the most amusing situation possible. So, generally speaking, though, kind of give everyone a rough... Flesh Market won the vote with 36 votes. Yes, 36 votes. Iron Methuselah won with 16, while Zero Hour Squadron won with 14. Currently, there is a vote between Ultra Instinct and Dark Corners and Old Tomes Redux. Democracy must choose what that is going to be. What it is, what it won't be, who knows? Hey Notepad, why don't people believe in the US went to the moon when the Soviets said we did, when they had every reason to gain from denying it? Because conspiracy theories are fun, and people are weird. Proof democracy fails, shake my head, pretty much. Dark Corners and Old Tomes is the cult game, right? Yes it is. It is a game about cults. This is one of those very unique cases that if there were like double 16 vote, literally it'd just be this one, and then I would just arbitrarily choose one to go first. But because it was 11 votes for last place, that's how we got it. So, what's Flesh Markets about? Well, very simply put, that's what it's going to be at the end of the day, because this is partially inspired by a very, very funny term, which is, now, there's a game out there called Red Markets. Now, Red Markets is a zombie game about, quote, economic horror. Unfortunately, it is also a poverty simulator. It is a poverty simulator. Where it really tries to make it tries its best to make sure that that it's not a poverty simulator, but then it does make it a poverty simulator, and then and it's also poverty. It's poverty porn. That's legitimately what the game is, and it tries to deny it, but it's not. But that's just what it is. It's just poverty porn. Yeah, am I like 100% on this game? I like some ideas, other ideas are really bad. And the ideas that work are economic horror. Economic horror, the fuck? Is this gonna call me capitalism is bad nonsense? It kind of delves into that, because the entire idea is like, oh, well, there's the good. Oh, yeah. There are safe zones. And to get in the safe zones, though, you gotta buy in, because, again, we live in a capitalist society, DM. My only two issues, there's three major issues I have with the game, and what it's trying to go for. One, you are forced to give a shit about other people. This doesn't seem like a big idea, but it's the fact that you must give a shit about another human being. And the game goes out of its way to say, oh, well, if you don't care about other people, you're a bad person. No, if I'm doing this, we're tactically grinding. Like, if we're doing, this is a capitalism simulator where we're all fucking poor, so we're gonna be poor and we're gonna grind. The second thing that's a little bit funky is that you can do absolutely nothing in this game unless you chew a Mars bar. Every single action in this game, you must spend something for, even if it doesn't really make any sense. Because they'll justify it saying, oh, well, to swing your machete, you have to use your high-calorie diet. So that's what you're buying. So me swinging my machete is not me swinging my machete. It is me swinging my machete after chewing 5 granola bars. Which is very strange to do. That, and the writing keeps going back and forth between, man, poverty sucks, am I right, fellow poverty people? You poverty fuckers. You poor unfortunate. It's one of those things where it's just like, the situation you've put in is not how people would act. Because people would act a lot nicer to one another. Not like, oh, well, it's hyper-capitalist. No, not really. Everyone would try to work together, roughly speaking, and be like, yeah, there are people who have and have not, but like, we're gonna work together because we are in a disaster and we should be working together. But the game pretty much forces you to be... The best way to think about it is the game forces you to be an asshole by virtue of no one wants to help anyone. You physically cannot help anyone. But what you are not able to be an asshole in the sense of, I want to get rich quick, so I'm just going to be a jackass. It's very weird in that regard. It won't let me beat Patrick Bateman grind, but it won't let me be like a moral person either. Like, if I just joined Patreon to swing the vote, God, I hate my weeb autism. In all ways but physical, I am South American. So it's just some upper class communist idea of what poor people have to deal with and will push their warped understanding of reality on you. I really don't know. Because every now and again, you read bits and pieces of it, and you're like, yeah, alright, red markets, this makes sense, what you're putting down. But then immediately they'll go like a little bit too deep, and they very much wear their theme on their shoulder and tell you what the theme is. And it's like, I don't think you have a very low opinion of human beings, and especially in disaster. Capitalism thrives for the simple fact that we don't live in disaster constantly, and that we aren't just surviving. Capitalism breaks down the moment, desperation is replaced by anything else. That's not how that works. It's very weird. You'd have to read the book to really get an opinion, like a big, deep opinion on it. But, yeah, effectively, everyone sucks, poor people. I think the best way to think about it is like a David Cage game. Because in any David Cage game you want, any Quantic Dream game, fun fact everyone, any Quantic Dream / David Cage game you play, your how did Yahtzee put it? Your moral standing is directly counter what your bank account is. The less money you have, the better the nicer you are. But yeah, it's very strange. It's this like poor people, like as someone here is like, you are horrible human beings and you should be horrible people because capitalism is bad and you participate in capitalism. On the other hand, it's just like, no, you can't be nice with anybody because being nice is wrong. And like, oh, and because it breaks the game. Maybe second edition fixes that aspect, maybe it doesn't, who knows. The fact again that to swing my machete I must use I have to eat my Mars bars, like, that's always goofy to me. It will always remain goofy. But the thing is, here's a secret. Red markets are actual legitimate thing. Like, you gotta remember, like, a red market is something that does exist. And red markets are, for lack of a better word, they are, organs. They're organs. Effectively, there is a entire sub-market of the organ market. So calling it the red market is effectively it's a massive thing about the idea of trading human organs. And it's a huge thing of, like, anytime you hear about stories about people Notepad, why the fuck did these things get greenlit when you have better games that are left in obscurity? Because I am an alcoholic misanthrope. generally speaking, the organ trade, if you ever hear about stories of like, well, you'll be drugged up and left in a bathtub with your kidney cut out, they're participating in the red market, otherwise known as the organ trade. Hey, we want to take out your organs and sell them. Hey everyone, in Iran, it's technically a kidney can go from 28,000 to 45,000. Depending on where you go. Hey, government compensation for donors, kidney pair donation, illegal organ trade. Effectively the idea is you cannot sell your organs to get money. That's not a good thing. You shouldn't do that. Yeah, it's like, hey, you really shouldn't. That's kind of fucked up. To sell your body parts for things, and you know, it's just like, let's see, the approximate was 148 days. Yeah, if you want a good heart, for example, like you want any good organs, like it's gonna take you like 2 months minimum. However, it's, you know, organ trafficking and transplant tourism. However, if you go to the right people and you manage to get an organ you actually need, you can get an organ way easier. Hence the organ market. It's very fascinating. It's very, very, very fascinating. So I thought, I'm like, hey, wait a second. Also, is it possible that grow organs using stem cells to give the hospital so people can get stuff they need, and doing it kills the organ trade? Yeah, but stem cell research is incredibly early, and there's a lot of people who are very morally opposed to it. So I'm like, yeah, I understand that. Also, why the fuck would you use zombie body parts anyway? They rot, not viable due to you know, being dead. In Red Market, the Red Markets, the game, the role-playing game experience, they are actually using a different term for it. They're using this in counter economics. It's the idea of meaning a market of violence and theft not approved by the state. They are using the concept of a red market in a different context. I discovered it when I was Googling red markets, the idea that it is referred to as the organ trade. So I'm like, man, that's really fucked up and funny. I'm gonna make a game about it. That's literally it. That's the entire premise of why this game comes to existence. Thank you, Feel Good. We got him Manly. We bring in Lanchuk Manly again. Hello, Lanchuk Manly. So I'm like, hey, this is a funny idea, so I'm gonna make this a game now. And that won. Generally speaking, Flash Markets is a very early name for a game. It doesn't really have a good name. It doesn't really have a setting either. That's kind of one of the issues I've been dealing with. Like, currently this is settingless, which a game like this is going to need a pretty strong setting, so I kind of need to debate that pretty quickly. But the entire concept, you could argue, is that, and I should kind of link these two together, which is the, generally speaking, the concept here is, quite simple. You're a people needing to get organs. How do we, it's, no one wants to buy a... So that's kind of the idea. It's when you stab forward at someone with a knife, because the thing is, in like, if we played it like any other game, like Dungeons, and let's say the Dungeons and Dragons. Let's play this small game that you don't know. It's funny. The first thing that comes up is fucking Honor Among Thieves. Okay. Oh goodness. Sleepy boy. So it's like, oh no, you've been stabbed. dead. Let's do art dead. Oh no, you've been stabbed by Golgoth the Troll. You aren't tracking the fact that your fucking kidneys have been destroyed. You're not tracking the fact that your fucking, like, your fucking skull's been ripped off or something. You're not tracking that, because of fucking course you're not. Now, you can make an argument that you have something like, riddle of steel. And then you got something like the Riddle of Steel, which does track things like that. Also, this is the Conan game, by the way. The Riddle of Steel, where they do track that, but it's almost entirely based off your limbs. I have never actually... I've never actually seen a game specifically about that. About just, like, let's be really weird and target, like, organs and limbs and more internal body parts. If that is in there, I should find this. I'm not even saying this is a zombies game. I am almost saying that it shouldn't be a zombies game, because fuck that. In order to hit, you need to pull the spleen. I have proficiency in longsword, so I can attempt it twice. Yeah, it's kind of the idea, the best way to think about it is that when we get into a fight, normally, we think about a character. Yeah, we don't want Fat Tony. There we go. We think about, no, that looks like a child. We think about a dude. We think about a dude like this. Now, the thing is, we think about him almost like this, just kind of like he's just a block of stats and he's a block of problems. Certain games say, okay, every enemy here is actually a set of limbs. Like, that's all he is. He is a set of limbs, and that if we destroy his right arm, we destroy his arm and we destroy his head, he's dead. Other games are less like, oh, well, he's now he's layers of health, effectively. Kind of the World of Darkness method. He's bruised, he's stunned, he's all that. We can track that differently. Effectively, what I need to do here is, hey, you have fucking pretty vital organs in your body that you kind of want. A human being, a character that you are going to fight, is no longer just a health bar or wounds or anything. They're a fucking profit margin. So it's like, yeah, you want to like, hey, we want to kill this guy pretty quickly because then we can get all the good shit inside of him. But, obviously kind of hitting downward, hitting you in the skull means we're going to damage kind of more of these valuable internals, which is like, okay, we kind of want to keep all your internal organ bits. We want to keep all of these things. So it's like, okay, how do we want to actually do this? And I also want it to be kind of the idea of, we've got our dude here who's super cool and we like him a lot. We also want to be able to track of like, hey, he's got a fucking huge ass gash here. Like, he doesn't have a fucking, he doesn't have a fucking like half his torso anymore. You just ripped into him. He doesn't have half his, his guts are clearly spilling out at this point. It's like, hey, what can we recover? Okay, like this entire kid, like this lung is gone. His stomach's fucked. His intestines are fucked. We might be able to get his heart. We might be able to get one lung out of it. That's kind of what I want to kind of get across, is like, it's an incredibly detailed medical system of treating various injuries, treating various problems, because every single part of the body is incredibly valuable. Oh, wouldn't Fatal have some kind of autistic targeting system given what it is? Fucking no fatties in our game. Wasn't there a super crunchy cowboy game that had you overlay it first and see what parts you hit? Maybe like a two hit numbers, one to hit, a higher one to hit where you want. Yeah, effectively, it was slowly thinking to be something like the Meat Wagon, kind of the original Meat Wagon game. It's like, hey, yeah, you are a assault ambulance rescue game, and that's kind of what you have to do. Very private ambulance bullshit going on. Kind of the three ideas I had for kind of a setting, it was either we go full, like the basic, like these are like the basic ideas, you could say, like basic ideas. Well, and this is going to really inform how the game kind of goes, you could say. Is either we go full, like, hyper sci-fi, if that makes sense. Like, we're dealing with, like, Dune tier. Like, oh no, we're needing to do some weird-ass, jank-ass shit, because if we don't do the jank-ass shit, you know, we're not going to hit our Dune bucks credits, and it's a super hyper future where things are just weird. More, if any of you have ever heard of, Prophet before. This particular comic series. A little bit more like that, being like, hey, yeah, it's tear out your organs, and, like, you are, like, we've advanced so far into the future that, you know, things like that are, like, really janky and very strange, and it's okay being really weird. We can also kind of doubling down on that, which is also hyper fantasy, like I would say not even hyper fantasy, it would be like weird fantasy. Like, hey, yeah, congratulations, you live in a city of meat. And, like, that's the entire premise. Like, yes, everyone is currency. Please, you serve the meat, you know, serve the meat family. You are, you know, in the fucking church of the organs. Your entire goal in life is to get organs from other people who definitely do not want it. Do not want to give up their organs. They don't fucking matter. That's not the point. Lethal attacks. I think there's an anime called Vandra that had Earth. Vandra sounds really familiar. Sort of Cruelty Squad-esque biopunk. If we're doing like really high core, like really high thought sci-fi, yeah. I kind of am leaning away from like a strictly kind of like it's cyberpunk or something even adjacent to cyberpunk, simply due to the fact we did Neurobeat last, and I'm like, no, we already did a cyberpunk thing. I want to do something different. So the other one was this is kind of the more like weirdest exotic idea, even though it's the painfully mundane and surreal. Effectively, instead of like Prophet, instead of kind of a weird fantasy, it's like pathologic. In pathologic, there's actually a fairly extensive system of having to harvest bodies, because generally speaking, you need body parts to actually cure people of this very particular disease. And that's actually a fairly important part of the game, is saying, hey, we need to actually harvest parts of the body. We need to get, you know, parts of the soul and things, and just make the entire game horrifically obscured. Just make the entire game horrifically surreal and weird. And being like, yeah, you're in this situation. You are in a very strict situation. And because you are in a very strict situation, there is, like, you're going to have to do this, and you're kind of adapting to it really quickly, kind of thing. We can also do something like Kenshi, but that kind of goes into the weird fantasy angle. Heyo! Hello, Moonson. Not like World War I, but Eternal War, maybe early, like Revolutionary War time period. given what you were doing, would it be come on? The thing with like Pathologic 2 is like Pathologic 2 is kind of a weird. Let me see if I can find kind of give you the idea of Pathologic's town. Pathologic's town is like, oh hey, it's like the 1930s sort of, and it's kind of weird, but it's kind of normal in this kind of like steppe area. There. It's just like, oh yeah, there's also a impossible monolith built into the entire. Yeah, you know, it's like, hey, there's also a you know, a impossible building monolith built into the side of the countryside. This is incredibly strange. Don't think about it too hard. It's also like, oh hey, the town is also on the back of a bull, literally and metaphorically, but it's also not. Do not mind the weird worm people who live in the countryside. They're normal people. They show up, we give them things and we leave. We don't fuck with them, they don't fuck with us. That's what I mean by like painfully mundane and surreal. It's just like, yeah, you're just in a very not modern time. I wouldn't say modern. It would be like you don't have like cell phones or anything, but it would be kind of like you're bringing out a revolver kind of thing. If that kind of makes sense. It's like I'm like pulling out a revolver and like I'm going to shoot you with my gun to do this, so please get away from me because I don't want to die. And then players need to remove something. They basically flip the paper of cut the organ out, so they are going unblind. Maybe double-sided print, like printing, so you have body on one side and organs on the other. Battle damage being GM taking huge rips out of the paper. Yeah, its thing is, it's not even like, oh, it's like in a really specific place, because that's like the thing with Pathologic, is that you never really know where the city is. You get an impression like, oh, it's Eastern Europe, because it's a game made by people from Eastern Europe. But then you think about it a little bit more, and it's like, this doesn't make any sense. And again, that would be like my thing. You would be like, you have no idea where this really is. You're just out here for a reason. Yeah, it's beyond our understanding in a place outside time and space. But it's very mundane in its own right, if that makes sense. Kind of like, you've walked into a place, you've been brought here for a very particular reason. And it's like, all right, because you're here for a very particular reason, get ready, because this is not going to be fun for anyone involved. That's why I'm thinking, like, we could make this like a very focused and very weird game. And or we can put this game in a bunch of different directions. And each one of those directions is going to be something a little bit different. No idea on the dice system. We're a little early for thinking anything about that. I kind of want to figure out kind of like what do I kind of want to do here? What's kind of the gameplay? Like, what's the actual like concept? This is the preliminary stream, baby. But like, kind of generally speaking, like, one of the ideas I want to do is like combat is hellishly dangerous. It's kind of like we don't want to be in combat, but all three of these kind of inform things a lot different. Where it's kind of like you have an insane advantage, kind of in like the hyper sci-fi one. Like you have this weird super advantage. And it's not necessarily that combat is dangerous and it's very unfun. It's like, combat is like a weird, surreal, it's incredibly dangerous for everyone except for you. But to you, combat is hellishly dangerous in a different context. It's like, yeah, you're super fucking like way hyper advanced to the point where it's like, yeah, I can very easily kill you without thinking about it too hard, but that's going to destroy your organs, and I want your organs. Weird fantasy would be more like, you know, Yeah, effectively, the idea of the weird fantasy would be like we're doubling down on the fact that it is entirely very surreal fantasy, very like we're far, far out there. It's surreal, real mixed with the beyond understanding, granting it sort of while keeping it foreign, and that's, you know, be saying you the D40 system. Kind of the idea, like that's why it's like the painfully mundane and surreal would be like, yeah, this is a completely normal place, just something is very wrong. It's like, yeah, you're here, you speak the language, and like you people kind of understand you, but you get a clear feeling that you are not in the right place. Like, this is a place, this is a town, this is a city that is incorrect and is hostile to you being here without ever saying they are. And there's a few angles we could go with this one. There's a few angles we can go with all of these, and they all have different perks and like upsides and downsides. So I kind of need to find like one that's going to be like, this is exactly what I want. We are not using the D40 system. Do not hurt me this way. But there's a few ideas to kind of go on with flesh markets. There's a few ideas to kind of... The main thing would be we are tracking a lot more than just our traditional, oh, you have an HP bar and your HP is above 10. I would want something a lot more than that. Like, you get hit by... If someone brings out a gun and shoots you, that is or like someone does something like that, should be a weird situation of like, hey, you've been struck, you need to treat yourself. You know, we are taking a moment to be like, okay, I have taken a flesh wound. What does a flesh wound need? I need to spend some time patching myself up. I need to stitch the flesh back together. I've taken an infection. Okay, what do I need to do to clear the infection? Everything has, you know, there are things that cascade on top of one another, and since things are cascading, like any kind of damage should be dangerous damage, but it kind of depends on the situation. Hey, you cut this guy open and he doesn't fucking die immediately. That's bad, because he's now, all his organs are, you know, all his body is getting infected with things we cannot afford. Like, kill him faster. Decapitate him or subdue him is even better. You know, it's kind of like there's a few different ideas we can go there. Contrasting, very, very much contrasting that particular game is Iron Methuselah. Now, some of you may be happy to know Iron Methuselah is actually a mech game. Yes, this is a mech game. It's been a minute since we wrote a mech game. Generally speaking, I'm thinking more. Yep, armored core with distinct weird shit in it. I'm putting weird shit capitalized just to make sure that people understand that it is definitely weird shit. Even though, I kind of lied when I said that this game was going to be an entirely unique game, because it's really not. Let's see. Hey, no, but what about playing cannibal, hunting each other and selling body parts to the flesh market and make it surreality mundane? There's a lot of ideas. I'm kind of thinking on it a lot. It's, generally speaking, isn't our brain just a pile of flesh mecha after all? Well, the entire concept of the Iron Methuselah. Now, for those who don't know, Methuselah is the oldest living man ever. That's the thing with Methuselah. He's a biblical patriarch. He is effectively the longest lifespan of those in the Bible. He died at the age of 969, meme number. He's the grandfather of Noah. He is, generally speaking, a incredibly old person, and he is actually the son of Enoch. Yes, he is the son of Enoch. Quite a few different things here. Now, you may be wondering, why am I talking about Enoch and Methuselah and all this other bullshit? Very simple. Very simply, you're dead. That's the entire premise of Iron Methuselah. Let me go here real fast. Oh boy, thank you for all the money you're giving me, because thank you for all the money, because I'm a money boy. Money. Now, the entire premise of Iron Methuselah, very simply put, I'll put it up here. Mechs got faster, deadlier, and more lethal to the pilots inside of them, but speed's always necessary out in the rim, and the slowest ones die the fastest. Many PMCs decide the logical conclusion: dead pilots. Methuselahs are in purgatory, living in a digital dream as their corpse is loaded into a full metal mecha to move as fast as physically possible to complete a mission. All the benefits of processing power of a human brain with none of the downsides, outside being dead. Yes, it's literally it's a game based off a the entire concept of Iron Methuselah spawned from a note in a kind of almost like a side note in Armored Core, Armored Core 6. Let me bring up the exact pilot. The thing is, it's like, oh, Armored Core, like if Armored Core 6. Now, here's the thing: your protagonist is effectively, kind of like. The way it's perceived is a few different weird ways. Some people are like, "Oh, you're technically sort of alive," and others like, "No, you're a fucking body bag." Effectively, in Armored Core, you're almost effectively like a body bag, and in like an original draft copy of the game, you could kind of say what some people were estimating was, as you are effectively a body bag with a, inside this mech, you're not really even alive anymore. Like you like you are in a very strange situation. You're kind of you're not quite alive, but also not really dead. So I was kind of like, hey, fuck it, why don't I just double down on this idea? You're piloting fast dreadnoughts. Can we kill children? No, we can kill guilty children. So like a personality AI into a mech for a mercenary company. How it effectively is, hey, our mechs are going so fucking fast at this point, anytime we put a living pilot in them, they'll just die from G-force. But we still want the processing power of a human brain without the problems of, blood or dying. So you're effectively a corpse loaded into a mech being like, hey, congratulations, you're in a weird purgatory-like state that we keep in a very strange dreaming, you're dreaming effectively the entire time until you're loaded into a mech, in which case you are then pumped full, your brain is pumped full of chemicals, be like, okay, go fast and die trying. And it's like, yeah, congratulations, you're effectively in a horrifying purgatory, where you just simply, you are in a, it's, oh shit, we are English. Yeah, it's effectively what I was gonna do is like effectively that's kind of the basic premise, is like you are, let me see, can I find the yeah, here we go. Yeah, that's kind of the like dreaming mecha autism. I can finally make this go away though. Kind of the concept was like, hey, you are in these incredibly fast mechs. You are in mechs that, by all like accounts, will kill the pilot, but we've kept you in a state of being where you technically cannot die. So, congrats. You're not going to die yet. You have a contract to fulfill. And what I would want to do is, one of the bigger things would be, a lot of Christian themes, and a lot of pumping in that idea of like, yeah, you are in purgatory, for lack of a better word, and that is how you view your life. Is you are in a weird state of purgatory. You cannot die. They won't let you die. Why won't they let you die? The only way for you to really actually die is to explode in a fucking mech. Yeah, a dreadnought, but even more metal, effectively. But I think that it's kind of the, like, I would want to kind of get the idea of like, yeah, you're kind of in there, but you're kind of not. A big question would be, are you still you? And that's going to be kind of like a reoccurring thing, because, you know, kind of anything off the field, you are in like a, oh, hey, welcome aboard, like, effectively you're Eden. Being like, oh, everything is great and wonderful in here. Like, everything you could ever want is taken care of. On the other hand, you're not really allowed to leave or die. You know, it's like you don't really have that. You kind of have that more autonomy than a dreadnought, if that makes sense. Because dreadnoughts are just space marines slapped in a mech, you know, slapped in the big mech. And you're just like, well, I'm not, like, please, can I leave now? No. No. The other kind of part of me is, I'm going to cite it because I'm playing a lot more of it. A little bit from the Quasimorph, the mind chips. Kind of drop the, like, the straight, like, this is a body part kind of thing, but being more along the idea of, like, you are a dead person. You are dead. Physically, emotionally, and all that shit. You are dead. But we kind of put a little bit of that Quasimorph, a little bit of that Eclipse phase. I can actually even put a little bit in, you know, I can put Eclipse phase in this, you know. It's kind of like, hey, you're dead. Your body is gone. However, we've effectively used your, we have a copy of your mind on fucking standby. You're like, oh, you're dead? Man, that really sucks. We're just gonna back you up again and again and again. Or it's like, oh, well, we don't really have the threat of death anymore. Like, you do have the threat of death when they just throw you away. Yes, it's like, well, this guy isn't paying out. Whoop! Whoopsie doopsie, he's gone now into the fucking void where you don't even exist. It's kind of like that back and forth. I'm like, I don't quite know how I want to do that particular thing. There's a few different ideas you can do with that one. Because the secret is, this game is going to be is effectively going to be a redux. And you may be saying, what game are you reduxing? And I say, welcome to Granbelm. Ah, yes, Granbelm. Now, There's probably going to be exactly 3 people in this fucking... Probably 1 person, maybe no people. Your brain is nice and safe as long as we don't write it over to pirate a movie. Yeah, effectively. Welcome to being an info-G. Welcome to being an info-G, dumb fuck. One of the ideas was... I was literally going to take Grand Belm, Dancing in the Midnight Realm, and just update it, but replace the setting entirely. You may say, well, that doesn't make any sense, because Grand Belm was a weird series. And I'm saying, yeah, I know. We're going to have to effectively rewrite big chunks of the game, but we're just going to shift it over to this new thing. Because at the end of the day, Grand Belm is a very simple game at the end of the day. It's not a very complicated game. You just need a bunch of dice. All of these have various things that are valuable. Some of these are good, some of these are terrible. So we're going to have to fix these. One of the things with this particular game is the idea of the Arminox. Now, I made a big deal with the Arminox. You can legitimately customize every limb of your fucking mech in this game. You can add in a bunch of weapons, you can add in a bunch of abilities, a bunch of even special bullshit. And the entire thing, this is actually the first iteration of the beat combat system. Yes, the first iteration of probably the best combat system I've ever written. So, deciding like, hey, you know, I'm effectively going to redux this while removing things that I don't need. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why I kind of worked around the idea of like, hey, yeah, no, you're effectively in a mech that is not... There are no humans inside this mech, because you're gonna fucking die, you're moving too fast. In Grand Belm, the reason was, characters don't stop moving at any point. That was one of the issues. You never stop in Grand Belm, because if you stopped, you just die. So I'm like, yeah, you just kind of shift actions together. And there is an extensive thing of magic kill casting. Casting was dumb. This game is very wonky. And that was kind of one of, like, the thing I was going to have to be like, I need to actually talk about things. And I forgot I added this particular image in the air because I'm like, yeah, you're like, these characters aren't really important. You really should think about them. Grand Belm was an interesting series, and I think kind of updating it to have a different vibe to it would be a good idea in a lot of different contexts. So the core game is already there. Like that's the big thing. Like the core, like the core foundations are already done. That's one thing about Iron Methuselah that we have a very distinct advantage. It's effectively going to be a full-on Grand Belm Redux. That's what it's going to be. Because Grand Belm sucks, and we can't have we literally cannot have anything nice with Grand Belm. And anyone who likes that series is inevitably going to get fucked over by the whims of fate. That's just one thing you have to realize, Grand Belm sisters. We can't have nice things. Because the last Grand Belm thing, I actually looked this up. We looked this up live. The last Grand Belm thing, it was 2019 is when the series came out. The series isn't very good. Now I'll be the first fucking person to say that it's not a very good series. It's actually incredibly mid. They did, however, have a pachinko machine. I believe it's a pachinko machine Yeah. This is the lasting legacy of the lasting fucking legacy of the Graham experience was a fucking pachinko machine. Yeah, life is pain for Graham for Graham fans. Wonder, I remember we saw ones. Where is it? They did a big thing, being like, "Oh my goodness, it's a brand new thing," and it's like it's not. It's not happening. Uh, God, yeah. Let's look at the Graham 4 months ago, the pachinko machine. Yeah, it's people are still. New theory dropped a year ago. Fucking 2 years ago. Yeah, no one gives a shit about Graham Bell. And Graham Bell's creators don't give a shit about Graham Bell, so I don't really think they're going to really mind if I just kind of get rid of their enlightened vision. Oh, Graham Bell. Graham Bell is from 2019, and it's a mecha. Here's the thing with Graham Bell, you have to remember. This is important. This is something that people don't quite understand with this beautiful show. Is Graham Bell is a magical girl mecha battle royale anime. Now, you may be wondering, Notepad, that sounds like a lot of things happening at once in a single series. But you have to remember, this is 2019, so it's a Maguka magical girl mecha battle royale anime. Yeah, this was an anime original. This was, yeah, it was a very strange series of situations. It really only exists because Maguka, and I wrote the tabletop role-playing game. It suffered because it was bad, Lubu. Okay, I'm going to admit, Graham Bell wasn't good. Graham Bell was not good in any capacity. It was a solid, like, 6. I'm being generous with 6. Let me see if I can bring up some of the fucking characters of Graham Bell. I just want to make sure people understand why I like Graham Bell so much. Like, remember, again, this is a Maguka Magical Girl Mecha Battle Royale show, where every single character effectively pilots, like, you know, the little squished Gundam, little Gundam SDs? This is their main mechs. They all pilot these fucking things. They look stupid. They look completely ridiculous. And it's like, alright, fine, fuck it. Alright, let's, I mean, the characters have to be endearing, right? Yeah, they're all magical girls. She's literally not in the show for 90% of the series. She's the main villainess. Can you tell that she's the main villain? But she's not. Like, this is the main girl. This is the other main girl. This is her magical girl outfit. There are things that occur in Grand Bell. This is an important thing to note about this series. Things occur in Grand Bell There is no story. They pretend there's a story, but there isn't. Because every character is stupid. The thing is, they wanted to make it a franchise. You have to remember that. This was going to be the next big franchise. And yeah, that didn't happen. That didn't happen at all. For a variety of reasons. Mostly because literally the second half of the series makes no fucking sense. Because characters just cease to exist sometimes. The thing is, it pulls out 3 things in the series that make no sense and makes everything confusing. Because it does the, like, most pivotal fucking sin of storytelling repeatedly. And that very specific pivotal sin of storytelling. Here's a rule. Here's characters that are going to break the rule, and then every protagonist breaks the rule, and then they think it's smart when they say, oh, the rule wasn't really a rule. Where it's like, oh, only this can occur, but then it doesn't happen. They're like, oh my god. So you're saying that rule is bullshit? And and the thing is, because you get other series like Fate, for example. In Fate, the entirety of Fate Stay Night is every character being like, wait, you're not allowed to do that. That you broke the rules. And then they keep saying, hey, yeah, you have to remember, the rules are meant to be broken. Every single thing we do is about breaking the fucking rules and explaining why we could break the rules. Or actually explaining, haha, it's not part of the rules. This literally, this fucking show is like, here's a rule, we're gonna break the rule. Then we're going to ignore the rule. And in other times, they will establish things. And then later, retroactively get rid of them. And then you introduce the worst thing imaginable, which is reality bending, as a plot point. A major plot point. Yeah, it's great. I love Graham. Yeah, it there's a wasn't when you'd be like, oh, it was an anime original and that's why it didn't do too hot. No, it didn't do too hot because every single character's fucking stupid. It's just a poorly written show. It's a poorly written show in the worst kind of ways. Of just like characters doing weird shit, and it's a beautiful disaster piece. I fucking love the show. And enjoy Notepad. Go on another anime round. Fine. I'm getting back on focus. Getting back on it. I just want to say, like, Granbelm. I originally wrote the entirety of Granbelm. There's a story here. I wrote this game after waking up from a nap or sleep. I don't really remember what occurred. I think I was actually fully asleep. I woke up in the middle of the night, walked over to my computer, turned on my computer, typed up effectively about 2,500 words of the entire, pretty much a majority of the game, of how the game actually functions. Saved it in a notepad and then went back to sleep. I don't actually fully remember how I wrote this game. Hence why we're fully just reduxing it by changing its nature quite a bit. Yeah, so that's kind of the concept behind Iron Methuselah is like, hey, we're in a very strange, it's a very strange game based off a thing that is equally strange. But luckily, I already kind of have the game for, like, Iron Methuselah is already sort of set up. The only thing that isn't set up with it is focus on more anime. No, feel I can't do this. Revelation of vlog, regardless of whether they want it or not. Because the thing is, the premise behind Granbelm is interesting. It has such a unique, like, the thing is, it has such a unique, set of ideas that mingle together so strangely. And you read it and you're watching it, and you're like, this doesn't work. This is bad. However, I like every aspect of this. It was shown to me in a dream, and my body was compelled by God to write it, effectively. And there's a reason why the beat combat system is probably one of the best things I've ever written. And it works fucking amazingly. So, hey, let's redux it a little bit and make sure that it actually works again. Okay. Our last technical game is 0 Hour Squadron. Now, 0 Hour Squadron is incredibly simple. It is effectively a space dogfighting TTRPG. Now, maybe saying, Notepad, you already wrote a game like this. You fucking goblinoid. You absolute goober. You absolute cretin. You've already wrote a game like this. And its name is Project Sidewinder. You already have a game like this. Why are you making a second game? And the answer is, very, very simply, because I fucking can. Because I fucking can. Because I want to play TIE Fighter, okay? I want to play as TIE Fighters. Space Ace Combat meets X-Wing. It's effectively like, the thing is, I was actually looking it up. I was like, okay, there's gotta, like, if you really look at, like, oh, dogfighting TTRPG. I want to do dogfighting RPG. Really, what you're going to get is like, oh, here's Star Wars D6, and then you get Warbirds, Crimson Skies, which is a board game, which is like a picture book game. Check your, like, it's a bunch of like war games. People were talking about, like. I was like, all right. I mean, there's got to be something here. This is one of the things that also kind of prompted a lot of the problems with Project Sidewinder, which is very simply, there really is not a single game that does this. This is furry porn. It's like there is really not, like, there really isn't. No, that's dog fighting. Not dog fighting. Plain dog fighting. Jesus Christ. Yes. There are very few games that deal with this. They're almost all video games that you're really looking for. And there's a reason why Sidewinder ended up like a weird diceless game, because I was lurking with nothing. There was no good way of doing anything. So I'm like, all right, I got to look at this from a different angle. I like X-Wing. X-Wing the game. Not this game, the original, like, fucking weird ass like special edition. I've played this on a fucking emulator because I was into emulators for a very long time. That was like the thing I did. I played SNES games, I played DOS games. It didn't matter. I just played all these fucking emulator games. But I was like, oh, this is actually kind of interesting. And Noonie actually bought me Star Wars Squadrons. Squadrons is pain. Yeah, Pippa's live. So yeah, go watch Pippa. Analog first person Ace of Aces. It's weirdly good analog first person shooter. Flying Circus is very crap. Well, I actually, the thing is, Flying Circus is written by someone who it was written by Newsstand Press, who also did Patrol, which is very interesting. Yeah. One of the weird things is because I'm like, all right, there's got to be like an X-Wing TTRPG. Like this has to exist, and really, it's just like it's play X-Wing, the board game, and I'm like, well, it's like it's not really a board game. I guess you would call it a war. I guess you would call it a war game. So I'm like, oh, all right, yeah. Technically, X-Wing kind of got passed around a little bit. I mean, X-Wing had a single player variant. Yeah, like the solo alpha. They had like the solo alpha vision. I believe this actually got put out to do something. Like this was an actual like full game that I'm gonna have to hunt down when we get to 0 Hour Squadron. But I'm like, oh, all right. This is a for X-Wing. Let me look up X-Wing game. No, that's not it. Like, yeah, X-Wing is like a full like X-Wing is full on. You can play it, and I was thinking about it. I'm like, all right, maybe we can do something with this. Maybe we can make something work. But it's interesting playing Star Wars Squadrons. Really made me think about this genre a little bit, and made me think something very important. It made me think that I was going to vomit in space. That I would vomit almost immediately, just because this game is incredibly fucking jarring to play. You will be playing and you will just like, I want to turn slightly right, and then you explode in 15 different directions, and it's like, oh, this is horrible. Please send help. I'm in danger. Like I'm seeing time for a book game for not to try to add to my small collection of notable. Star Wars Squadron is fine. It's the same category of people who want to do huge set for Mech Warrior and Armor Core to play the game. Yeah, it's... Yeah. I don't get, like, I could not imagine playing that in VR. I get sick with VR regardless, because one of my eyes is fucked up. And, let me see. Where was Aces of, yeah, Aces of Aces is things like this. Is just like, this is one of the few, like, and you're like, oh, all right, we've got to have something good here. No, this is not a thing that exists, and it's a very, this is welcome to my perpetual. Welcome to my perpetual sadness of dealing with the wonderful world of how do you make a dogfighting game? Yeah, that's a question. How do we make a dogfighting game? Very simply put, during my time working on Sidewinder, I identified a few things. I'm just gonna call this the major things to consider. There are a few things to consider about space combat that not even just plain combat of flying that makes it very weird to deal with. Z-axis. It is really fucking difficult to understand the premise of the Z-axis. Now, you may be wondering, what the fuck is a Z-axis? Well, simply put, this is normally an X and Y. You know, this is our Y. This is our X. The Z-axis is like this. Now, the thing is, the Z-axis would kind of make it look like I'm trying to draw perspective here, and it's not working for me. The Z-axis is effectively, you can go up in space. That is the very difficult thing when it comes to flying or any of that shit. Is you have to now account for that you might have a character here, you might have a character up here though, which is looking down on them. Even though on the map that we would see it as is they would look like this. But just the introduction of the Z-axis does change a lot about how you consider things. The next thing is momentum. Momentum. Now, in the atmosphere, this was actually kind of more easy, kind of harder to deal with because you want to know what happens when you stop moving in the air? You start going down. So, in space though, luckily, there's no such thing as down. If you stop, you stop, and you know the momentum will not carry you forward. However, we now have a very unique situation here, which is you're in fucking space. Hey, there's not even the premise of being in the same directional sense. I mean, it's a perfect VR game, though. Yeah, I don't doubt it's a perfect VR game, though. I still am gonna vomit if I try doing it. Simply because, again, I've tried VR 3 times. Every single time I get very woozy. I get incredibly woozy. And it's because one of my eyes is a lot worse than the other, and I have to take my glasses off. I've my friend said like, oh, you know, VR is really good now, it can work, but I've always been immensely like cautious of VR because of those experiences. And I'm like, nah. And it wasn't like, oh well, here's a super intense game or anything. It was walking around. It was like walking around like a 3D environment. I can't even remember what the headset was. But I got really sick and really fucked up just because of my eye doctor was like, yeah, I think you can't do that because your one eye's fucked up. I'm like, damn. Guess I'll never become a VR. I'll never become a VR stripper. Damn. My entire life is ruined. I will never truly become a I'll never live out my dream. The other thing I kind of noticed is that is something very simple, just called fragility. You want to know what happens when you get hit by anything in the air? You die. You want to know what happens when you get hit by a missile? You die. You want to know when you get hit by a weapon, by a cannon? You die. Planes, unsurprisingly, this is my I'll draw a plane here real fast. Planes, this might surprise you, are very fragile, and anytime they take damage, they explode. Now, if we're in a cool spaceship, we'll call it the we'll call it the wiggle wing. Now, if we get hit by this asshole over here in his, flying A, in his H-wing, he shoots us twice, and we will fucking explode. Like, we get fucking atomized. And that is just something that you constantly have to manage. And that was like one thing I had to like yeah, here's just luck in this game. Is just like, oh shit. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh my, the Starfighters battle book. Starfighter battle, X-Wing versus TIE Interceptor. Oh, Lord Almighty. That's by West End Games, no less. I can probably... I might be able to find it on... If I look around on TG, there's a non-zero chance I can find it. Because probably someone scanned this book, but like... Yeah, welcome to, what? Yeah, it's like never going to experience the wonders of being sexually asked by an anime femboy in VR chat. Insert bomber survivor bias study. It's weirdly deep. You need to have almost supernatural reflexes, luck, and better equipment and training to survive, and even then it's not a serious thing. Aerial combat is what happens when it happens rarely leaves survivors. Yes. Yes, it does. I mean, the thing is, and this is always like a very unique thing to, to worry about, because you do oh, well, people think they want to be like, oh, well, I'm Wedge Antilles. I want to be Wedge. Everyone wants to be Wedge. Like, we are these impossible badasses who are super cool and have no flaws, and we're awesome. But then you're like Star Wars pilots. But if you really look, the thing is, most of our characters are gonna be Porkins. Let's not kid ourselves here. Like, most of us is gonna be Porkins. Like, we're just like, oh yeah, what do you do? I fly and then I explode violently, because that's my strategy. Jektono Porkins. Yep. Also, he has a Wikipedia entry. In canon, he just dies. I love Wikipedia, by the way. I fucking adore Wikipedia. Because you will find the most insane bullshit about every single character. Yeah, like, what do you, it's fucking Porkins. No one cares about Porkins. But yeah, it's like, you have to think about, like, getting shot once, getting attacked by anything is not good. As EU renamed, he had to Gamari and take up his call sign after he died. Bimbo Schlimbo was a war hero. Wait, Legends? Like 80% of pilots end up getting killed during the first 5 minutes. Why people do those combat training drills? Wait, no one wants to be the best pilot? Bimbo Schlimbo? Legends, yeah. It's, the thing is, you would need to create a way. Yeah, he got shot down by Turbo Laser, which is effectively fucking space AA. Yeah, it's fucking dangerous. And the thing is, it's not even the fact of, hey, you have the advantage of, like, because you want to know what happens. I'm going to tell you a secret. So let's say you're flying your plane. Oh no, you've been shot and you start smoking. Oh no, what do we do? I'm going to tell you a secret. There's ground that you can land on. Uh-oh, you know, I'm there, I'm fucking wrecked, but I'm like alive. There's land that you can ground on. You wanna know what happens in space? Like, oh no, here's my awesome, you know, cockwing or whatever. You wanna know what happens? Oh no, I'm smoking. This is bad. You wanna know where you go? Nowhere. You go to space because you're in fucking space. It's just like, uh-oh, what happens? And then you just pop goes the weasel. Like that was it's even funnier because you play in squadrons effectively. There are people who give you health packs all the time because they have to. Did Jesus take the stick? Star Wars: The Rebels could eject and survive via force field, but it was dodgy as hell. Yeah, it's like, yeah, this is just incredibly fucking dodgy. And it's like, it is incredibly dodgy and incredibly dangerous. So a part of me wants to kind of put that in. Because the thing is, you can address these two things we can address pretty easily via, you know, this is just game math. Here though, like in Squadron, I literally put it in the idea, you know, in Sidewinder, I put it in an idea of saying, hey, you have a few ways to soak hits. Once those are gone, you're taking damage, you're out of there. You're gonna die pretty fucking quickly. And enemies did die very quickly. But it was kind of like whoever gets the advantage is going to have an insane advantage. Part of me wants to kind of go into two different directions here. Either A, we can take the kind of the iron caskets route, which is to say, death is a reward. That's kind of just the idea, is, hey, you die? Oh. Like, hey, you died violently? Congratulations. You have accomplished something. You have given the fleet something. Your heroic death has emboldened everyone, and now your next character gets something. Or it'd be kind of, I guess it wouldn't be squad. Let me actually check this. Let me check this real fast. This would be, there's a very specific term here, by the way. It's a very, yeah, okay. Like, yeah, it would be like your squadron gets something. Your wing gets something. Like, the overall group gets something. The overall team does for your death. The other option is just, you know, good boy. Effectively, you have the kind of like the good boy points. You know, good boy points system of kind of like you're surviving via like you've got bravado, you've got luck, you are a hero, therefore you can soak hits that would normally kill someone. The other option, the third option, is just Braves in Space, in which case character creation is pretty quick. And like the game would need to accommodate, if this makes sense, the game needs to accommodate all three of these in different ways. Because if we kind of do the idea here, it is your character is going to be incredibly fragile and to the point where they don't mean a lot. Oh, is possible from this time. It's like, but it's like a 1 in 4 chance. Like, the thing is, also, people like to meme about Only War and things like that being incredibly deadly. It's really not. If, like, you got some You've got some meat on you if you get fucked up. It's not like you just like walk in there and die immediately. Oh, God. Oh goodness gracious me, I'm getting a little sleepy. But like real war. We don't do something stupid. Yeah, effectively. Yeah, pretty much part of me wants to be like, you're going to start up a campaign and this is going to be a very simple premise. There is the empire. And you are fighting the Rebel Alliance. Of course, we will like have to like legally change these names to like the Imperium. I mean, we've got the Imperium, and we are fighting the Free Alliance. Oh, wow, look everyone, it's the fucking OC Donut Steel. Effectively being the premise of like, we are effectively going to be playing a game like that with that kind of tech. We're just like going to lean into the Star Wars aspect. But that does lead to kind of a few different there's a few questions to consider here, and I'm going to put just kind of like a inspiration to draw from, because we could say fuck it and just say it's just Star Wars. Yeah, we're it's effectively Turkish Star Wars, you know, our very off-brand Star Wars. Alternatively, we could go somewhere different. We could make it a different franchise. Arguably, we could do Star Trek, because Star Trek doesn't really like Star Trek. Like Star Trek doesn't really have traditional like dogfighting, like fighter class ships. Really, I've never really. Because most ships in Star Trek are larger. You have larger fleet actions in Star Trek normally. Like individual fighters don't really do much, but I'm like, all right, but if we kind of go under that premise, like that's a very different way of doing things. Alternatively, we can go for something even weirder and just say it's Lex. Because Lex is yeah, if we go for like Lex, we could do some incredibly weird shit, because Lex is an incredibly weird series with some incredibly weird looks to it, and that's its own beautiful disaster piece. But kind of like maybe shifting focus. Wing Commander, yeah, something like Wing Commander. You're seeing, you know, fucking I'll play Star Trek like Wing Commander. You know, kind of very much shifting focus to a different concept, to a different universe with different rules more than anything. Also, never forgetty that fucking Mark Hamill is extensively in the Wing Commander universe. I'll have to try to replay Wing Commander. Because I liked Wing Commander. That was during my other emulator time. And I remember getting fucking mad at Kilrathi. But yeah, you could do things like Wing Commander, and you can kind of do different approaches, especially if you want to get really exotic with the aliens. With things like this is gonna be some ancient fucking memes. Star Control. And how Star Control kind of handles certain things. Because Star Control 2 is fucking amazing. And I love Star Control 2. And I get really mad at Star Control 2 too. I fucking hate the Spathy, by the way. fucking kill all Spathy, those little fuck bastards, every single fucking time. However, you do get sexy blue alien women who want to have weird space sex with you. So that's cool. That's neat. Have no fear. What do you want to do? Uh-oh. Oh no, there are some blue women who want to sleep with me. Uh-oh. Battlestar Galactica. Galactica is another very good option because you've got some characters. Yeah, you can do some Adama things there. That's really going to be. That's going to be one of those moments where you kind of have to sit there and being like, what do we want to base it off of? What do we want to, like, think here? Because if, like, when we go for, like, Battlestar Galactica, like, Battlestar Galactica had a very different approach to things. And, by the way, if we're doing Battlestar Galactica, we're going with the original 70s series. In, like, we're dealing with the 1978 series. Because everyone must look 70s as fuck. That will be my one requirement for this series. Is that we're going to look cheesy as fuck. Starbuck. The original Starbuck before they changed him. But like it's Cylons. The 78 Battlestar Galactica looks very goofy nowadays, but it was like, yep, this is a thing that does exist. But there's a few different ways to approach this particular game, and it's going to be like, I wonder what is the best outcome here? What's the best way to really say, hey, this is the correct way, or hey, this is the like. Also to there's differences, mostly in how to approach certain ideas. You know, actually interesting that you have a squadron, but you have your main squadron who's the main guy. Well, the idea there, feel good, is in Iron Caskets, kind of the idea is like you're very disposable. But the entire idea is that you're supposed to kind of feed how you're feeding the glory of the original your battle group. And that's how you kind of, quote, level up your battle group, and how you level up your commander is doing that. Is like, hey, we want to improve everyone. It's like, yeah, sorry, you're doing this. The thing was with like Star Wars is you have two forces that are they're asymmetric but relatively equal. Not like in a straight fight, but bear with me. Because like X-Wings are a lot more maneuverable and a lot more fast, but there's not as many of them, and the TIE fighters are actually, no, it's what is it? The X-Wings have better firepower and survivability, but TIE fighters have speed and maneuverability on them. So it's like, okay, these are like relatively equal terms. Wing Commander, you have vastly different alien species. That's the thing. You are vastly different alien species, and their different ships are very different. And it's kind of like, okay, we've jumped in. Okay, what's the plan? I'm like, oh fuck, those guys cloak. And everyone's gonna gaslight you saying there's no such thing as Kilrathi cloaking ships. And that's kind of the idea there, is like, hey, you know, it's like that's kind of the idea with like Wing Commander is like, hey, there are different alien species, and they could just as you can be just as likely working with you just as much as wanting to gun you down. So it's kind of like, okay, like, all right, we're in this together. A lot more different kind of varieties of ships, a lot more combat encounters turn out to be a little bit different, and it's very much more a military campaign. Galactica, on the other hand, is you have a incredibly overwhelming threat that is better than you in just about every capacity. However, you also have a lot more personal stakes. That's one of the big things. It's just like you have a lot more personal stakes at home. And going out there is like, hey, we don't have pilots to spare. We do not have resources to lose you. So it's like, maybe it's going to be a good idea if you get damaged to just leave. Just get out of there. We can do a fast repair. We can get you in another one. Just do not risk your life. And that's going to really change the nature of combat. Is there? I mean, there has to be a Battlestar Galactica arc. Like, there has to be. I would be, yeah. There's Battlestar Galactica tabletop role-playing game. Oh, it's Cortex. It's Cortex, all right. Yeah, this was Margaret Weiss. Yeah, so they were all Battlestar Galactica. Yeah, so the Battlestar Galactica uses Cortex. Not even Cortex Plus, this is the original Cortex system. The fucking Firefly. See, if you ever want to feel old, if you ever want to both feel very old and very young at the same time, the Firefly role-playing game came out in 2014. The Firefly role-playing game. Still baffles me sometimes when I say, like, oh yeah. Like, there's gotta be, yeah, this is the only... I mean, there's a few Star Trek games. I mean, there's Wing Commander, TTRPG. I mean, is there a Wing Commander role-playing game? There is a Wing Commander role-playing game. There is a full Wing Commander role-playing game. Oh my god. Oh my god. Let's see. I'm fucking what? What? I did not know this existed. It is 1,000 pages long. Holy shit! It's 1,000 pages long. Oh god. Oh. 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 It's 1,000 pages long. You can tell this was fan-made. This reeks of turbo autism. You mean keto? Visual organs. Motor appendages. Oh. 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 Woo. Oh, wow. Bruh. Oh yeah, no, this is pure autism. This is pure and unabated autism. This is legendary autism. Oh wow, yeah, no, I wasn't expecting Kino on the menu tonight, boys, but oh goodness. I mean, let's I mean, I at least have to figure out what the system is. Like, that's the most important. Oh geez. Where navigation takes up, oh, navigation's 100 pages. Capital ships is over about 100 pages. Vehicles is over 130 pages. Oh. I mean, I've gotta learn, like, you ever see something and you're like, I just gotta know, like, what is the core mechanic? Percent type roll, all crucial rolls, 10-sided dice, designated tile. Oh god. Crucial rolls in game with 2 10-sided dice, with one of them designated as 1d10 times 10, a 10-placed die. All results on a percentage roll, therefore match from 0 to 99. Please, situation comes up. Text for all equals character score. Or equal to succeed, if not it fails. Yeah, so it's a percentile system. Oh Jesus Christ almighty. Oh god. I mean, I'm in, by the way. Like, of course, yeah, we're gonna go over the Wing Commander role-playing game. Hell yeah, we're gonna go over the 1,000-page rate. We're gonna go over the 1,000-page. Oh god, that's why it's so much. Oh my god, they're tracking. Creating and modifying vehicles. Oh Lord almighty. They're gonna make you create every vehicle. Oh, we're dealing with Kino on the menus, boy. Oh wow, alright. Okay, and that's, oh god, yeah, we're gonna have to remember that one. How big will this video be? Do percent of great flexibility? Yes, you can go down to the percent. Feel good. I can guarantee you one of those expansion books has every vehicle in it. I can guarantee you. What is the fully made fan game? Battlestar Galactica now? Because Battlestar Galactica has an actual game. There's a real game. I mean, we know Wing Commander. We know Battlestar Galactica has one. I mean, does Lex have a TTRPG? Lex doesn't have a TTRPG. Nope, Lex does in fact have a TTRPG. Nope, it does. It totally, Lex has a game. Of course it fucking does. Fucking Lex. Lex is a mistake. Like, current campaigns edited recently. No, I want RPG Wikia. Yes, tell me more about RPG Wikia. I want to learn more. Don't you know? I want to learn all about more RPGs. German. Oh yeah, we're dealing with some good we're dealing with some good shit here when we have a bunch of dead links. Yeah, oh yeah. I love dead links. They're my favorite. Why is the Lex RPG on here? Why is there a Lex RPG? That's what I want to know. Why is there a Lex? Okay, it's a Unity system. Okay, that makes sense. I'm like, why do you exist? Why are you a thing? Why do you... God, this is a fucking ancient site, by the way. I want you to know this is an ancient site. This is fucking 4E. This is 3E era. I still are. Also, the fuck is Lex? Lex is a Canadian television show about death. I think. Maybe. No one really knows what Lex is about. But I know whatever Lex is, it's good. That's all I know. I remember watching Lex. The thing with Lex that is very surreal is you will literally watch sections of Lex and it is turbo autism, like how every ship is technically alive and characters just do things. Fucking balls, fuck, it's an actual fucking PETA starship. It's a bug. Thank you very much. It's supposed to be a bug. But here, this is the fight song of the Brunnin G, baby.
In the comments on my videos or...
Damn it. Clicked on the wrong video. Now it broke. This was uploaded 13 years ago. To give you an idea, these guys are like, we're gonna pilot our spaceships to go kill God. Yeah, remember very distinctly. This is a series where the first fucking thing they do is like, all right, guys, we're gonna go try to kill God. That hair, it's great. That hair. Hello, Spark. Welcome back. Legitimately, it's not like we gotta listen to the music. We gotta sing. Because they are literally like, alright, we're an ancient warrior. We are a warrior cult dedicated to... we have to stop the embodiment of death currently. So we're gonna pilot our spaceships and fight it. We are going to die. Oh yeah, I mean, I would sing in my fucking war chant if that were the case. Oh, let me just deafen everybody. Let me just deafen everyone with my music. Fun fact, that's just Crony, Ordo Crony's Lo-Fi BGM. I have it literally on in the background at all times. if you ever want to know what the background music is for these things, it is 95% of the time Cronies music. Because I may not look it, but I am secretly a HoloLive fanboy. I have never watched a HoloLive stream. I take that back. I watched Mori Calliope once, and I was physically repulsed. It's great. Ow. All right. Well, generally speaking, we've got our we've got our notes set up. Or the three main ones. We are currently in a deadlock tie between Ultra Instinct and Dark Corners. I, for one, hope neither win. I hope we all lose. We still have to do Flag Bearer, which slowly and steadily we have been working on Flag Bearer. Most likely this Friday we will sit down and just work on Flag Bearer for an entire day. Dreaming of killing God. Dreaming of killing God. I like Team Schizo from Phase Connect. Yeah, the new generation of Phase Connect. I looked at them. I'm like, Sakana, what is the plan here? Sakana, what's the? I have a feeling I know what your plan is here, and I don't know if it'll pull up, pay off, but I'm pretty sure it will. They seem to be a lot more energetic. At least some of them seem to be. The rigging on them all look amazing, if anything. So hopefully they turn out good. That's all you can really hope for, and hopefully none of them decide that they want to start their own. They're actually idols. You mean they can sing? Amazing. I mean, I, for one, can't wait for Pippa's brand new album to drop. Right? Because Pippa does music. One thing I always gotta remember is that Pippa can't sing. It's always funny. But, curious, again, I'm curious how they're gonna pay off. Again, the rigging on all of them look amazing, which is something that is... A lot of money went into them. I'm going to tell you that much. A lot of money went into them. A lot more than the others. So I'm curious of how it... I'm curious how it pulls out. Curious of how it pans out for FaZe and Sakana and all that. I know they are actually running pretty high on winning all those VTuber awards. Which were bullshit awards, but... Pippa the Ripper is big. But, yes. I am going to call it there. It's 11 o'clock, and I am feeling eepy, so I want to go to sleep. So, Godspeed and good luck. See you all, most likely tomorrow. We will play video games tomorrow. What those video games will be, I don't know yet, but we'll definitely play something. We won't have to worry about total or Lundi death either, so keep that in mind, everyone. Alright, it's time for me to go.